What's going on, True Blazer fans? It's Tori, back with another game recap. Now, earlier I released my Monday mailbag. Go check it out, go leave me a question. I'm going to be talking about this Dallas Mavericks game from last night, and a theory that I have in regards to the Portland Trail Blazers. But before we get into that, I got a couple things I gotta get out of the way. First off, follow me on Twitter at ToryJonesYT, follow the channel at TrueBlazerFan. We recently hit around 1,300 followers, so that's a cool number to hit. We're trying to grow our engagement on Twitter and grow our brand, so you can help us out by leaving us a follow and engaging in some of the things we tweet. I like to live tweet every now and then during games and point out things that I'm noticing live and point out things that you might be able to notice as the game progresses. So if you're interested in that, definitely make sure to follow our Twitter page. Full highlights for tomorrow's game are up in the air just because it's Christmas, got a lot of family in town, that type of thing. So while Eric would love to do them for you guys, you know, it's Christmas. And believe it or not, but family and Christmas is priority number one tomorrow. The last thing I want to get out of the way is I'm going to try and be more consistent with uploading game recaps the day after a game. Usually I'll wait a couple of days and upload it right before the next game. And that only gives you guys like 2 or 3 hours to watch the video. And I know sometimes you'll be busy up until game time and won't have the opportunity to watch the game recap since it's only out for 2 or 3 hours. Since usually a third of that video is previewing the next game, it makes no sense to really watch it after the game. So I'm going to try and release it the day after the game. That's something that I'm going to be committing myself to, and it might not always happen, but I'm going to try and be more consistent so you guys can expect game recaps usually out the day after games between 3 and 5 p.m. That's usually when I'm going to try and get these videos done by. So with all that being said, let's jump into this recap for this awesome Dallas Mavericks game. Now, if you were just an NBA fan in general, this was an awesome game. The Blazers had multiple big dunks. Luka Doncic hit that crazy three. Sadly, I don't have enough time to edit this video to show you all those individual plays as I talk about them. That takes a lot of time, and there's just so many cool big time individual plays that I'll just let these highlights roll while I talk about my takeaways from this game. Damian Lillard got in a mood that I love to see. That sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? But seriously, he seemed to have gotten mad during that third quarter, and he loves the third quarter. I don't know what happened, but he had this expression on his face like he was pissed off at the world, and he was just trying to bury the Dallas Mavericks. Another great individual play was his defense against Harrison Barnes. As I said, I don't have time to clip the individual plays, so go watch the full highlights if you haven't already seen them. It's a great game. You should definitely check them out. But back to Dame. I just love the way this dude's playing right now. He's playing with a confidence that I haven't seen so far in his career. And he was a very confident player before, but he just seems so sure of himself. He just has that aura of a superstar. He's getting over 27 points per game right now, about 40% from 3, over 45% from the field. It's his most efficient season. He's still showing flashes of very good defense. Hopefully he can make that more consistent because honestly, with the way he's playing offensively right now, if he was just able to be an average to even above average defender, then you'd be talking about a guy who's first team All-NBA for the 2nd year in a row. We need to truly appreciate what we have here in Dame, and I know a lot of you guys do. But this dude right now is playing like a top 6 or 7 player in the league. Sometimes I just sit back when he's playing great in a game and just going off, and I just sit back and I appreciate it for what it is. You can't take what Dame gives you for granted. Now, Nurkic's passing made a return in the first half where he had 5 assists. And as I said in my Monday mailbag, I don't think this is necessarily a product of us running sets through him being an outlet at the high post or the top of the key. Nurkic will get the ball in this position in sets. A lot of horn sets will get him the ball in this position, but a lot of times freelancing, we'll use him as an outlet for a pass, and then oftentimes we don't move enough. But during that first half, we were cutting very well. There was a give and go between Dame and Nurkic, which was the best give and go I've seen so far this season. Although Nurkic has his turnover issues, he's a good passer. And when he has the ball at the high post or the top of the arc, we should have people looking to cut, looking to screen for each other, much like the Golden State Warriors do when Draymond has the ball at the top of the key, and they have guys like Clay and Steph setting screens for each other. You have Durant curling off a pin down. I love it when we use Nurkic as a passer and we use it to cut to the rim and have productive off-ball movement. Now, I told you guys at the start of this video I have a theory in regards to the Portland Trail Blazers, and that is, for some reason, it seems like they struggle to focus heavily on more than one thing. At the start of the season, we were playing great offense, but our defense seemed to regress from where it was last year. Of course, last year we had a very solid defense and our offense struggled a bit. So that seemed to flip during the first 10 to 12 games of the season when we got off to a 10-3 run. And then all of a sudden, it seemed like we were focusing a little bit more on defense and our offense started struggling. We became much more stagnant, and the ball wasn't moving anymore. The last 5 or 6 games or so, we've definitely focused more heavily on moving the ball and moving players off the ball and playing a better style of basketball on offense. Guys in post-game comments talk heavily about it. So this is definitely something that we've started to focus more attention on again. And right when we seem to start focusing more attention on that, our defense took a step back. It seems to be a trade-off. Before this Mavericks game, 3 of our past 4 games, we gave up more than 120 points. None of those were overtime games either, so that's not an excuse. So our defense has been struggling. We definitely did better against the Dallas Mavericks. Harkless did a good job on Luka Doncic. While he did have 23, 11, and 6, he only shot 7 for 21 from the field, so it wasn't an efficient night. Of course, we still had our breakdowns. That 3 that Luka hit should have never been allowed by our defense. We should have had guys all around the arc. Nobody should have been guarding DeAndre Jordan. Nobody should have been guarding anybody inside the arc. They could have shot it 2. Time would have expired. We would have won by 1. Instead, we let them get a 3 off, and we seem to always have these lapses mentally on defense in clutch situations. Now, they didn't call a timeout, so we couldn't set up our defense, but Terry Stotts should have been yelling at guys to play some sort of zone coverage on the 3-point arc and allow stuff inside. From what I could tell, he wasn't doing any of that, and if he was, the players weren't really listening. All in all, I was definitely impressed in the way we responded to that miracle shot that Doncic hit. Coming into overtime, we started off with a huge CJ McCollum dunk. We had energy on defense. We ran the court well. A lot of teams, I feel like a shot like that, where you think the game is over and then he throws a shot up to the heavens and then it drops into the hoop. There's a lot of teams that would simply fold right after that. They would go into overtime kind of defeated mentally, their energy would wane, and they'd let the game slip away because that shot was such a heartbreaker. I honestly felt like that's what was going to happen to the Blazers after they hit that shot. This is a team whose energy has always been inconsistent throughout this season, so I was just thinking, well, that's going to be the reason why their energy just completely evaporates during this overtime period. But then again, Dallas was on the second night of a back-to-back. They played a close game in Golden State the night before. They were bad on the road. So maybe that was part of the reason why we were able to come into overtime and play a good style of basketball. But our energy was definitely there, and a good team responds well to adversity. Doncic gave us some adversity and we responded well, and it was definitely a good win to have to ensure that we were over 500 going into the new year, and our next 4 games are very tough. At Utah, at Golden State, at home versus Golden State, then at home versus Philadelphia. Looking at tomorrow's Christmas Day matchup against the Utah Jazz, we just need to defend a lot better. We gave up a bunch of wide open 3s early on in the game, let them get a good feeling, let them get confidence, and that carried on throughout the rest of the game where we were contesting more shots, but they were still falling. Ricky Rubio shot out of his mind. This isn't a guy who's a shooter, but he was 10 for 15 from the field during that game and 4 for 4 from the 3-point line. I don't expect that to happen again, but I also don't expect Donovan Mitchell to struggle like he did. I don't know what's wrong with Mitchell, but he definitely has not looked like the same player he was last season. But a Christmas Day matchup on national television, that could be his breakout game. He's a guy that definitely likes the big stage. Honestly, we just have to communicate better on defense. We have to move the ball against the Jazz because they're very good one-on-one defenders, and when they're set as a defense, they have a very good team defense. Maybe look to run in transition more so that you don't have Gobert set up waiting at the rim to block your shot. He's probably the best rim protector in the league. Maybe get Rudy Gobert in some pick and roll. That's where Damian Lillard has had success against him in the past. Hitting jumpers off the pick and roll would probably help pull him more out of the paint. And honestly, I want to see us attack Gobert, try and get him into foul trouble, post up Nurkic against him, see if Nurkic can get going early. You get Gobert out of the game and replaced with a guy who doesn't protect the rim as well. And then we could get going downhill, attacking the rim with cuts or dribble drive, collapsing their defense and creating good shots from there. That would be my game plan. So anyway, I hope you true Blazer fans have a wonderful Christmas, and if you don't celebrate that, then happy holidays. Hopefully we're able to get this win tomorrow night, as that would mean a perfect Christmas day. So anyway, that's all I got for now, true Blazer fans. This has been Tori. Peace out. Go Blazers.